buried under a sweatshirt.
My name is Richard Lupkes. I'm from Rushmore, Minnesota. I am 56 years old.
Bundled up by a t-shirt.
Some days young, some days old. Depends how I feel.
Hidden by a humble smile.
Founding father of arm wrestling in Minnesota.
Armed with heart.
He's an average guy who isn't average.
You cannot be average when you hold dozens of arm wrestling championships won over more than 30 years.
Won the World Championship, I think 3 or 4 times, and I've won the Nationals, I couldn't even tell you how many times, maybe 10, 12 times or so.
He's what we call a freak. And I mean that with the serious, I'm sincere on that.
I think it was back in '76, we seen a poster hanging in a gas station here in Worthington, and it was on a Sunday afternoon, and looking for something to do, so we went up there and got involved with it.
And for Rich, it continued to be something to do.
A lot of people still associate it with something they do in the bar, but it's really come a long way.
And so did he. From Minnesota to around the world, he set the bar high, racking up wins and weights through the years.
His humbleness, he doesn't flaunt it intentionally, but when you're built like that, what do? And he's just so down to earth.
And this salt-of-the-earth man seems to be an exception to the rules. He doesn't talk much about his wins, and even less about the challenges that should have weighed him down. He took time off in the 90s to farm and to be with his family. And then, just when he started his comeback about 6 years ago, he faced what for most would be a career-ending setback. A story told by a scar you can sort of still see on his right arm. Yup, that arm, when his bicep tore. About that time, he met this guy.
I'm Eric Youngbloom, from the Worthington area. I met Rich back in '07. We both love lifting and love to push each other. And that's how we met. And we've been lifting together for the last umpteen years.
Not even a serious car accident kept Rich out of the ring, or rather, took arm wrestling off the table.
Well, I just enjoy spending time in the gym. I don't do it for arm wrestling. I don't do it for anything other than enjoying the time. It makes me feel better. I just try to stay in shape, and hopefully it'll make me live a little longer.
He's got a good, deep burn desire to do the best he can, no matter what it is.
Even on this Thursday during an average, but not so average, several-hour workout, when this 6'3" grandfather of 5, weighing in at a little more than 300 pounds, puts 310 pounds around his waist. Dipping down and pumping up his triceps. And in between, he tries a new trick. Flipping and catching 45-pound plates.
If he wouldn't have gone into arm wrestling, he could have been probably one of the world's greatest strongmen, just because of the way he's built and his focus on when he gets down to doing something, he gets results. There's no doubt in my mind, if he applies himself, he'll get results.
Okay, got it. Yep. Okay.
The results on this day, well, Google World Record wrist curls, looks like 345 pounds might be the record. Today,
One more.
Rich pulls down 500 pounds. No PR for this PR, other than personal pride.
Well, it's 30-some years later. I'm still trying to compete. It's getting harder.
While Father Time may make it harder for this father of arm wrestling.
I was the oldest guy competing. The next guy in my class is probably 30, 35. So I got him by 20 years.
In March, he made it to the finals of the 2013 Arnold Classic in Ohio.
And everybody that's at the Arnold is basically a former national or world champion, so the contestants are really good. I took 3rd place, which probably doesn't sound that great, but I have to go against all the young guys.
Coming to grips with getting older doesn't bother this big guy. He always figures this part of his figure could get even bigger.
I always say they're not big enough. So. I suppose they're cold around 23, maybe a shade over.
While some may wear their heart on their sleeve, finding a sleeve to fit this recently retired farmer,
I let my wife do all the shopping. I have no idea where she goes or how she does it, but she does it for me, so.
So while it may take a 4 or 5XL to fit these biceps,
My wife sees it more than I do. She says that people are looking, but they don't really look at me when I'm looking at them. So, she sees it a little more.
Rich doesn't see it, but when we go out and stuff, Rich gets a lot of attention because in my world, and I did powerlifting and did a lot of that strength, and he's a 1%er.
I don't see it. I see myself like everybody else, and so I guess, I don't think I'm that much different than anybody else, really.
He's just the 1%er.
I might be a little heavier than them, but probably because I eat too much.
and in the future, he wrestles with what comes next.
I don't know. There's a few other things that I've been kicking around, thinking about trying.
It keeps the fire going, and not just the arm wrestling. He's been talking about setting a world bench press record. So we're kind of leaning towards that and working at that now.
A friend of mine wants me to do a bodybuilding show. Another guy wants me to do a bench press contest. So I might, try one of those just to see how it goes.
I'm hoping he'll have a few more world records attached to his name. If he decides to play with others his own age, normally he doesn't.
It's always fun to push the envelope a little bit.
There's not a lot of people that I've seen with his abilities and goes beyond the abilities. Almost like a superhero.
A superhero armed with heart and humbleness.
Member of the AARP.